What's up everyone? Hope you all had a good weekend. Week 13 of the 20-week training plan. And as I mentioned in the last video, my focus has switched to the 6K distance. So for the remaining 7 or so weeks I've got in this training block, I'm gonna be at least mentally focused on the 6K distance, even if my training in reality doesn't change a whole lot. You know, I'm still sticking to, in general, the same training program built on the peak plan. If I do change anything, it will be to focus 1 or 2 of my workouts each week on slightly longer intervals to really get comfortable at or below 6K race pace. But otherwise will largely look the same in terms of total volume. I'm going to attempt a 6K baseline, not calling it a test, didn't taper for it, but just want to do a 6K, get one on the books. Haven't done one in almost 2 months, and so it would just be good to see where my fitness is at and what the gap to close is over the next 2 months. So I will we'll get that done, and I will check in with y'all after. So today's session was a great example of not staying disciplined in my training. You know, I mentioned before the row that focused on the 6K, wanted to establish a baseline, so decided to do a 6K today. Not necessarily calling it a test per se, but just get a 6K piece, a hard 6K piece in to see where my fitness was at. Now, although I was not thinking of it as a test, there's not necessarily a taper leading up to it, it's still a piece that I should have spent more time mentally preparing for. And again, I think my mistake here was deciding to do one a couple hours ago and getting excited about it, but just not taking adequate time to prepare mentally, even if physically perhaps I was ready. Now, I also should have listened to my body. I don't know if I had something for lunch that just didn't sit quite right, but I actually was a little bit nauseous kind of in the hour prior to this workout. Now, I never get nauseous before or tests or workouts, so I know it wasn't nerves, but yeah, I don't know if it was just something I ate. It just wasn't sitting quite right. Yeah, so you know, that alone should have been enough for me to decide to postpone or just do it another day. But being somewhat hard-headed, I decided to forge on ahead anyways, and as you saw, ended up putting the handle down right at the 4K mark. You know, I'm certainly not one to make excuses. You know, I just didn't have it today, clearly. But I ended up checking the drag factor after the piece, and it was at 135, which is, you know, a few notches heavier or higher resistance than I would normally train at. Now, I did have the floor fan blowing, sort of set up next to the flywheel blowing towards me, but I don't know if some of the wind, because the fan is pretty powerful, and I don't know if some of it was actually disrupting the airflow of the flywheel itself and messing up the drag, but it did feel heavy, and I'm at least glad that when I checked the drag factor, I had, you know, one explanation for why that might have been the case. But again, something I should have checked beforehand. I should have had the fan running. Lots of should-haves, could-haves, would-haves, right, for something like this. As you've heard me say in past videos, yeah, not a great session, but you know, on to the next one. learn from it, hopefully, don't make the same mistake again, and still got a, still got good work in. 4,000 meters, right around, maybe slightly above or slightly slower than my target 6K pace, but this tells me that although it wasn't a full 6K distance, the fitness is getting there, and on the right day in the right conditions, fully rested, I think I'll get there. I did do my a long steady state row yesterday, which I would normally have done on Saturday. So another thing too, I wasn't necessarily completely fresh. Anyways, long list of things that could, explain or contribute to a session being off. That's just gonna happen. As I've said all along, bring you guys the bad with the good. I'm still very grateful and thankful that I'm even in a position where, shoot, I can do this type of workout on a Monday afternoon, and that I have the time to do that. So there's always much to be thankful for. So until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep chasing. Peace.